I'm seeing people post all over social media and groups that I'm a member of that the Atari Gamestation Go that they pre-ordered has started arriving at their homes. And so I figured this was the perfect time to share with you a new product that my buddy Paul and I designed to make your Atari Gamestation Go even better. Hey there, welcome back to GenXGrownUp. I'm John, I am a GenXGrownUp. Thank you for taking the time to check out this video. I'm really digging my Atari Gamestation Go, and I have been for some time as I've been working on it in advance of reviews and videos that I've been posting. But ever since My Arcade announced that they heard our voices and were changing that paddle to a spinner, it got my head spinning that just like I was working with Paul last year, a couple of years ago, around making the expansion paddle for the GameStation Pro controller, I thought we've got to do something cool for the GameStation Go, especially now that it's a spinner. We'd like it to be a little bigger, we'd like it to be a little more weighted, there are a lot of things, and so I had an idea that I pitched to my friend Paul. As you know, he is an engineer who does product design. He runs an Etsy store. He makes all these cool gadgets to kind of tweak and modify our gaming toys. I said, what can we do? I told him I'd like it to be kind of like we did on the GameStation Pro, and he's like, nope, we can do better than that. I have some great ideas, and so we've been iterating over the last little bit, and I finally have something that it's not for everybody. Look, and I see why My Arcade couldn't do what we're doing here, because it's really just for the biggest enthusiasts. The people who are most passionate about paddle and spinner games would want this accessory. So, yeah, I'm excited to show it to you. Let's go to the table, and I'll show you. It must have been almost 2 years ago now that Paul designed this and a couple different sizes, actually, of the GameStation Pro paddle expanders. And really well designed. They grip right onto this little paddle wheel really well. And it did lots of things for the GameStation Pro. It made this easier to get a hold of and grip. It extended the diameter, so it was a little more sensitive, which meant it was easier to play paddle games. And that was really where we started when we were thinking about how can we improve the spinner on the GameStation Go. But we talked about a lot of things. He didn't want to do anything that modified the GameStation Go. He wanted to make sure that it didn't get in the way of anything else. But most importantly, it had to function well and do its job, which is to make spinner games better to play, more fun, more like the arcade experience. So the end result is this little kit that we're going to open in just a second. And here is my GameStation Go, of course. And we're going to talk a little bit about first the dial that is on the spinner of the GameStation Go is pretty much like the dial that was on the paddle for the GameStation Pro. And this is the kind of thing, like what we're doing here, My Arcade really could not have done, because it would have driven costs up so far, and it really only would have satisfied really picky nerds like us that want this spinner to be more like I said, more like the arcade. So we did a lot of stuff, a lot of different things, and this is a whole kit. So I want you to check this out. Inside here is more than just a replacement dial, but an entire kit and a bunch of options that you have. Oh, here we go. Oh my goodness. So more attention to detail. The presentation of Paul's products are just amazing. And so we're going to look at all these things, but I want you to first see that here is the wheel. We're going to get to it in a moment. This is the star of this show. He's given a number of alternate dials here that you can have, just different colors that maybe match the design of the GameStation Go just a little bit differently to kind of go with the color palette that's on here, including a taller dial that we'll try out. Look at this thing, much taller. He found that this met some of the requirements that he had, though didn't have the weight or heft that this guy has. So let me first show you the difference between this dial and the stock one that's on the GameStation Go. Here's the dial that's pre-installed on your GameStation Go. It has a little slot in there to go on the D post of the internal mechanism. Here is Paul's new replacement dial. It's weighted. It is beautiful. It's heavy. I'm going to show you the weight in a second. Look, it's got an aluminum, I think it's aluminum interior here. It's got the same D post in here. It's larger. It matches the design of the GameStation Go. Let me show you just how much more beefy this one is. Here's the default dial that comes with the unit. Put that on there. A gram, maybe 2 grams. All right, that's fair. What about this one? How much difference is there between that one and this one? Let's see. 81 grams. Nearly 40 times heavier than the one that ships on it. Is that going to make a difference? Playing Tempest? Playing Breakout? Playing Kaboom? Yeah, I think it might. So what about the process of installing it? Again, Paul's thought of all of this. We found that it's pretty hard to pull this off. We don't want to damage the system at all. So have this little rubber sleeve that goes right over top of your existing dial. Then you have this little removal tool. Check this out. Right over the top here. And just a little lift. Done. You've got it off. Now, we're not done. Let's put all this back. The tool goes back here. Now we're going to want to install this, so let's pull it out. And when we do, there's even a place down inside of the container where you can store your default one if you don't want to use it. Now, let's say you want to use a different color. They have black, yellow, orange, and red in here. Let me show you the taller one just to see the difference. Again, Paul swears by this one. He says it's great for him, but look at that. So what that does is it gives you a little more to grip and to get after it with your thumb if you want to, where you kind of didn't have enough leverage or height on it before. But let's get to the big boy, because this is the one that I love. I'm just going to place this right back in the kit. And we take the dial and we just look for the D post, the shape of it, make sure we match it up here. Slide it down, press it down in place, and there it is. You can already see some inertia, some free spinning. All right, let's take a closer look. There are a number of design features here that were very intentional, and there are some compromises made to make it work the way that we wanted it to. But so overall, look, so it stays on really well. It's got a really good grip. It's not going to fall off or anything. It certainly adds, you saw how much weight it's going to add to your system. But here are the things to know. We designed it so that it wasn't so big that it would get in the way of the D-pad. So you could leave it on. Maybe you're going to say it's in the way. Look, so we had to make it a certain amount of size so that the weight that was inserted into the design had enough inertia on the outer edges that it actually did the job it needed to, which is to give you some of that continual momentum when you spin. So not only do you have more weight and heft, you have more inertia, plus you have, it's larger on the outside, so you have finer control. Small movements here translate to bigger movements in there. It's very important to know that this very slightly overlaps the credit button. It doesn't touch it, but it overlaps it, which means that if you have this dial on to put in a credit, you have to kind of reach over with your finger to click that. It is just a little bit blocked by the very edge of this wheel. And again, that's by design because we wanted to make sure that it actually did its job. Any smaller, and it really didn't do what we wanted it to do. So keep that in mind if you're considering picking this up. And you know, links down in the description to Paul's store where you can find this and lots of other stuff if you've already seen enough. But there's more to see. Wait till you see how it plays. But there's one more cool little feature before we turn the unit on that is designed into this. Check this out. I've intentionally brought the lights down low so that you can see something you otherwise can't see on the studio lights, and that is that this replacement wheel is designed around the lip there to pass the Smart Glow through. So it doesn't just block it, right? Because it's under there and it would be around that little dial and you can't see it. Now you can. So it's reflective at the bottom. It's slightly translucent here. So you don't even miss out on the Smart Glow if you choose to go with this wheel. Now that I've shown you everything that went into the design, all the features of this unit, the entire kit, let me show you the impact that it has on rotary control games. All right, now first, again, the credit button, you got to reach in and hit because it's just a little bit obscured, as I said. Then we can hit the start button. Then we can pick our level, where we want to start. I'll start at the easy one. Now look, now I can drive the spinner with my index finger now because it's so weighted, and I can just spin that thing around, and die. It's just illustrating. Look at that. Now, of course, you can grab it like this if you want to, and the control is so much more fine than it would have been. Look at there. Very small movements are required. Ooh, super zapper, don't forget. I always forget that I have a super zapper. Oh, these guys over here. There we go, finish another level. Yeah. What a difference, especially if this is one of the games that you were excited to play on the go, both on the go and on the Gamestation Go. You know what I mean? It makes the experience just that much closer. Look, you're not standing at a machine, but it makes it just that much closer to that feeling that you had, right? All right, I fired up Super Breakout here. Which version? I'm fond of Cavity. Let's try Cavity. Let's hit start on that guy. Yeah, I'm going to try to do it with my thumb and index finger here and see how it goes. You know, and if you're challenged by the handedness of the Go, this might help you a little bit too, because you can get a better grip with that left hand. I know that's a concern for some people, and it seems to be helping me. Now, I'm notoriously terrible at Circus Atari, but I know it's a favorite for a lot of people, and it's definitely a signature paddle game in the 2600. So let's give it a shot and see. Here's my flip. Whoa. Oh, yep, see, I'm terrible at it. But I feel like I have more control. It's definitely, how am I trying to say this? It's giving me more precision, last-second precision, especially when he comes down really close and you have to, like that, you have to catch him. I missed him there, but yeah. It's amazing how much better you can do when the controls aren't fighting you. And you don't have to think about the control at all. You just let your fingers do what you see on screen needs to be done. There he goes. Can't believe I'm doing this well. All right, what else? The arcade version of Night Driver, another one that's worth checking out here, I think. So let's insert a credit. Remember, this has gear shifting up here too, so I'm going to steer with my kind of with my thumb and then shift gears with this. So let's see. I'm not great at it. Let's see if it makes me any better. Second gear, third gear. Whoa, whoa, whoa! It's downshift. Oh! Ooh! There we go. It's not making me good. It's making me better than I was, I guess. And finally, I think if we don't try Kaboom, what are we even doing here? So let's give it a shot. Oh, there we go. Look at the fine adjustments. It's just taking about a quarter turn to get all the way across the screen. Maybe a little more. Yeah, all right, let's see. Keep going. Nice. Oh, I'm going to die here. I can feel it. There it is, finally. It's around there when I usually lose my first bucket, but all right. And then, if for any reason you don't want to continue to use this wheel, going back is really easy. You can just pull off the wheel, a little pressure right there, and then choose what you want to put back. Here's the stock one. Maybe we can go with, let's go with the tall red one. Yeah, we could try that, or we could go with maybe the orange matches. Or if you just go back to stock, we go all the way back, take the original one that came with it, push it right on there, put this guy back. No damage to the unit. You have options. It's really something. Man, I think this GameStation Go weighted expanded spinner wheel might be the most polished and creative thing that my friend Paul has designed that he sells in his store. And if it's for you, I know it won't be for everyone, right? But if it's for you, if you're really serious about your paddle and spinner games, you got to check it out. Links down to his Etsy store are in the video description, where you can go and look at that and everything in his store. Really creative stuff that he does. And he does it all really to support this community that we have that, yeah, we like what people release, but we want to amp it up a little bit and have a little more fun with it. And I think tweaking stuff is part of the fun of getting new gadgets like this. So if you decide it's for you, check it out. If you get one, let me know what you think. Meanwhile, I'm going to throw links to other of Paul's creations over my shoulders here and here you can check out right now. I certainly hope you found something to enjoy in this video. I can't wait to talk to you again next time. Bye-bye.